What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and thank you all for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate you guys. It's been a few weeks since I've talked about pro racing at all. I mean, we kind of haven't really had any pro racing going on, so kind of makes sense, but there's still stuff going on the pro scene. We still got news, so today we're going to start up a new feature on the channel, episode 1 of an off-season Moto News National. And in today's video, we got a couple of topics of conversation related to World Supercross, as the rider list just dropped and it includes Ken Roczen for the full season. I don't think that was the initial plan, but now it looks like we got one of the top dogs for all the rounds of World Supercross. And then on the 250 entry list, Haiden Deegan's included for a couple rounds, but is he really going to show up on a 250? Then back to some stateside news. Monster Energy Kawasaki finally has Jorge Prado's replacement rider, and it also might open up another spot on another team. And last but not least, almost all the team lineups are finalized, but with two Jews out with a big injury, what the hell is KTM going to do on the 250 side next year? That's what we're going to get into in today's video, but before we do, you guys know the drill. I've got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors. Thank you to ASV Inventions, Sirius Studio, and the DesignLabCo.com. If you need some unbreakable levers, sick merch, or just some dope graphics, then check out my video description for links and discount codes. And if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep the channel going. So if you guys support them, you are literally supporting me. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright, to start off today's video, World Supercross just released their full rider list for both classes, and we'll ease into it. We won't talk about Deegan just yet. I'll make you guys wait a couple of minutes, but the list does include Ken Roczen for the full series, and originally, I think he was only scheduled to do a round or two, and it seemed like the championship would be a lot more up in the air with maybe Jason Anderson as the favorite. But luckily for the series, and luckily for us fans, because the series are always better when the top guys are in it, but luckily for everybody except for the competition, Kenny is back for the full series of World Supercross this year, and he's won this title before. He's been a mainstay in the series, and if you ask me, he should definitely be coming into this thing as the favorite alongside his teammate who should either challenge him or be the close number 2 in El Hombre, Team Fried, Jason Anderson. I'm thinking World Supercross is going to be the best marketing Suzuki's ever done. Between Ken Roczen and Jason Anderson, Kickstarters are about to rule the world, quite literally. Unless they stall it, then I might have to take all that back. But we'll do a quick overview of the rider list in this video, and then I'll do a full preview in a later video. But looking at who all's in this thing, between Ken Roczen and Jason Anderson, if everything goes right and nothing crazy happens, I really don't see any way that a Suzuki doesn't take this thing home. And speaking of the World Supercross entry list, it also includes the most talked about rider in Moto right now, with that being Haiden Deegan. He's on the rider list, and he's listed to do round 1 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and round 3 in Australia, and he's listed in the 250 class. But is that really what he's racing? Now, this might actually be the truth. He might actually be racing the 250 class in World Supercross. But I have heard a rumor from somebody who used to be close to the situation that said that Haiden will actually be making his 450 debut in World Supercross instead of racing the 250. And I'm not out here trying to confirm that or break any crazy news, so take it with a grain of pepper, but I did hear it from a good, reliable source, and I also believe that other media have mentioned the possibility as well. So am I saying this is happening? No, I'm not. But what I am saying is there does appear to be at least a possibility that this could happen. And if it did happen, how freaking entertaining would this be? It'll be great for the World Supercross series, it'll get way more people watching, and of course, with everything Deegan, it'll get way more people talking about it. With all due respect to the 250 riders, I would way rather see Deegan go up against Roczen, Anderson, Jacob, Webb, Savacci, and Vince Friese on a Stark than I would Shane McElrath, Michael Hicks, Cody Schock, Enzo Lopes, Max Anstey, and Chiz. And don't get me wrong, guys, those are awesome riders, but Deegan's already been there and trash talked that. I want to see him take on the new challenge and battle on the top dogs and see if his antics from the 250 class can translate over to the big bikes. At this point, I'd kind of just love to see him try to do in the 450 class what he's been doing in the 250 class. And honestly, him racing a 450 might even be the difference between me trying to watch live or me just watching whenever the replay airs. Love or hate the kid, he's for damn sure entertaining, especially when he's locked in, and better locked in than locked up. No choice. But World Supercross aside, there are even some rumors floating around that Haiden could either start the series and do the West Coast on the 450, or start the West Coast 250 series and then transfer over to the 450 for the East Coast. So whether he does it in World Supercross or not, it does look like we're going to see the Deegan Supercross 450 debut sooner than later. And like I said, I'll do a separate video at a future date to preview the entire World Supercross Championship. But as for the rider list that just came out, Quadlock Honda's got Joey Savacci and Christian Craig. Rick Ware Racing is teamed up with Club MX Yamaha, and they have Henry Miller and Devin Simonson. Pipes Motorsports Kickstart Suzuki has Ken Roczen and Jason Anderson. Moto Concepts has Austin Politelli and Ryan Brees between arena cross races. Then there's Team GSM Yamaha with Greg Aranda and Jordi Tixier. A legendary French team, Bud Racing Kawasaki's got Justin Hill and Matt Moss, and then here comes trouble, a silent killer, the Starkvarg Electric Bike Nationals. They're allowed to compete, and they're going to have Vince Friese and Jorge Zaragoza. And I think Jorge is going to be alright. I at least know he's going to try way harder than the other Jorge, but as far as Vince Friese goes, my thoughts and prayers are with the rest of the field. And shoot, I almost forgot about the wild cards. Justin Cooper signed up for round 1 and 2. Eli Tomac has signed up for rounds 2 and 3. And then there's Cooper Webb. He'll be at the 3rd round. And when you insert those guys into the field that they've already got for the rest of the championship, it's going to be good. Then there's the SX2 class, or as we know it, the 250 class. But we got Shane McElrath and somebody that they don't even know yet for Quadlock Honda. The Rick Ware Club MX combo has Enzo Lopes and Cody Schock. Vamos Enzo. Pipes Motorsports Suzuki has Chiz and Robbie Wageman. Moto Concepts has Cullen Park and Noah Viney. GSM Yamaha has Max Anstey on a star bike and then Maxime Dupre. Bud Racing has Cole Thompson and Kyle Peters, and then you'll have Michael Hicks and Lance Kobush on the Stark Vargs. And like I said, Haiden Deegan's on the 250 list for round 1 and round 3, but if he decides to go 450, I feel like those guys are the kind of people that they want to announce it themselves, so for all I know, maybe they haven't even told World Supercross he wants to ride a 450 yet, and they just want to announce it themselves. Regardless, it'll be good to have him on the gate, but for selfish reasons, I really hope it's on the 450. Now, as we get back to some stateside news, we finally have an answer. Monster Energy Kawasaki has found their replacement for Jorge Quitter Prado after the Disaster Nationals, and they've got their number 2 rider for 2026. In my opinion, they picked the best man for the job, and that is Garrett Marchbanks. There's been a ton of speculation on who could get this spot, as it's been pretty quiet from the Kawasaki side. But we heard about Valentin Guillot heavily pursuing the spot. Cameron McAdoo had been mentioned. People had theorized Joe Shimoda could end up there and skip the rest of his 250 career. I even heard Josh Hill's name being thrown around. But after some deliberation, they've landed on Garrett Marchbanks, and they've picked, I think, the perfect guy for the job. The dude is 6'12", he's built like a brick shithouse, and he'll be guaranteed to put in way more effort than the last guy. The dude was kinda on the gravy train as a kid, as he was a factory rider from a young age, but then he fell off the gravy train. He went through the highs and lows of motos, and now that he's back on the factory ride, you can tell he's hungry and you know he wants it. In case you guys have forgotten, he's already started proving himself on the 450, as he got a second in a moto at High Point, and he did well in SMX, both in 2023. And I said it before and I'll say it again, the dude is massive. He's built for a 450. So am I expecting top 5s or podiums? Not consistently at least, but I do think he could squeak a few in there and be a solid 7 to 12 guy. And if I had to guess, that's exactly what Kawi needs him to do, and that would make him the perfect number 2 guy to chase Sexton. Supposedly, Garrett's got some contract stipulations to meet to set up an extension for 2027, and hopefully he meets them, because he's kind of taking a risk on himself and jumping up early. He could have stayed on the 250 with more chances at podium and win bonuses, but to race the 450, I'm assuming he's got a bigger salary, and then he's got the opportunity to get some possible gear money. And how freaking cool is it of Mitch Payton to let Garrett go after fighting so hard to keep him? Mitch had said in interviews that he had offered to pay Garrett's salary out of his own pocket, so you know he wanted him on the team really bad. But at the end of the day, Mitch seems to be a very solid guy that's got the rider's interest at heart, and you gotta respect that. But with Garrett vacating the team, that should open up a seat for somebody else. And rumor has it that spot could go to Enzo Temmerman. I believe he's supposed to do SMX next in Supercross, and then he'll grab that pro circuit spot for outdoors. So a cool story for Garrett, a cool story for Enzo. Not the coolest story for Mitch, but you gotta give it to him for being a team player and being for the riders. And as far as Kawasaki goes, I think this was kind of best case Ontario for him. And I'll be rooting for Garrett. He's my guy, and I think he'll be set up to really surprise some people. And last but not least, our final topic of conversation for the day is, what the hell is KTM gonna do? No, I don't mean financially, I mean in the 250 class. They had their main 250 guy, 2 Juice Beaumer, go out with a brutal injury at the Charlotte Super Motocross race. A huge get well soon to 2 Juice, but he's looking like he's going to be out for quite some time, likely at least through the Supercross series. So what will KTM do? Will they even replace him? They've already got 3 450 riders with Jorge Prado, Aaron Plessinger, and Eli Tomac. They will no longer have Gas, but they will have 3 riders on Husqvarna in Ryder DiFrancesco, Casey Cochran, and new to the team for 2026, Daxton Bennick. But with all due respect to those riders, because they're all amazing riders, none of them have proven to be consistent podium finishers or winning material, at least not yet. And if they were going to try to get a replacement, I'd heard the name Cade Menier thrown around a little bit, but it looks like he's now re-signed with Star Racing Yamaha. I've also heard literally nothing about this guy's plans for 2026, but Time Master Pool is likely available. But They need a guy for Supercross, and Ty's not really a Supercross guy, so not even really sure if that would work. So in conclusion, I definitely have no clue what they are doing, and I kinda don't really have any clue what they can do. I tried to ask around before making this video, and nobody really seemed to have any idea, and there's not really that many riders left either. They're running out of options, they're running out of time, and pretty soon, they will literally have no choice. And I don't mean that in a good way, I mean they will have zero choices for riders. And you guys know I don't have a choice either, and I have no choice but to end the video on that note. As always, please let me know in the comments what you thought of the video, if you agreed with my takes, if you disagreed, if you think I'm full of it, if you just want to complain about how I talk, or any of that stuff. You know we're here for all of it. But by all means, please let me know if there's any other off-season stuff that you guys would like me to talk about. I'm all ears. If enough people are interested, then I'm down to do a video about it. But thanks again for watching today. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you next time.